Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
For me, it was a very different situation. For me, it was like more peer pressure from one of my friends.
So this year, it was kind of all over the place.
Like, is it convincing? Yeah, let's say not normal.
Yeah, it was kind of sad.
You have to believe what you say.
Delivery is really like what makes you like win.
Welcome to Valley Vibes, your show about culture, arts, and happenings in the Imperial Valley from a youth perspective. I'm Dr. Tom Tackey, the creator and executive producer of Valley Vibes. So in today's episode, we have the Central Union High School Migrant speech team with us, and they are going to share what they've been doing all year, talk a little bit about their practices, what their awards were, and what's next, and then actually share their speeches. So this is going to be a really fantastic show. So here we go. So I'm sitting here with the Migrant speech team, and why don't you all introduce yourselves?
I'm Alexa Cervantes, and I'm a sophomore.
Hi, my name is Itzel Juarez Pompa, and I'm a ninth grader in Central.
Hi, my name is Emmanuel Wong, and I am in 10th grade here at Central.
My name is Kalel Horta, and I'm a sophomore at Central.
Fantastic. Yeah, you guys are young. I mean, there's no seniors here. What's up with that, huh? So, tell us a little bit about why migrant speech. What got you involved?
So I would say it was kind of like a family tradition. I had an older cousin who did it. How old is she?
She's 21 right now. She's my
Yeah.
sister. We're cousins, me and Emmanuel.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so she was doing it. And obviously my cousin, she wanted to do it because of her sister.
Yeah.
And then she invited me to go do it. I had no idea what it was. I just kind of went to not do whatever I was doing at the time. Because I remember I got called out of class. And, and I ended up really liking it. And I stayed in it since third grade it was.
Yeah, third,
until now.
started. Yeah.
Wow, third grade? You
Yeah.
started way back in third grade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And where'd you go to third grade?
We went to, me and her both went to Meadows Union.
Where it was hosted this year,
Okay.
the competition.
Excellent.
For me, it was kind of different. I started off last year. It was recently my joining to speech. I started in 8th grade actually. 8th grade, I started off in 8th grade. And this is my second year competing, barely. My 8th grade, I was introduced to it because I had several things to do in the migrant program, and they invited me to it. So I decided to do it, and I liked it, and I stick to it here in high school.
Very good. And how did you do last year?
Last year I did really good in the 8th grade category. I won 2nd place.
That's outstanding for a first time out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Talk about when you came in.
Oh, okay. I started in 3rd grade. Well, we couldn't compete in 3rd, but it was more like a practice year with Miss Studer. And then in 4th grade, I actually started. Again, it was because of my sister. She had joined in 6th grade. She had no idea what it was about. And then she did it, and she was really good at it. She would always win 1st place. So, like, growing up, when I saw her, I was always like, oh, like, she's getting all these trophies. And, like, we would put them on the shelf. And I would just be like, I kind of want to do it. Like, I want my own trophies. So when I was of age in 4th grade, I competed, and I did really good. I won 2nd place in prepared and 1st place in extemporaneous as a 4th grader. And that kind of gave me, like, the confidence to, like, keep doing it until now.
That's great.
For me, it was a very different like situation for me was like more peer pressure from one of my friends. He had told me to do it, but like I was too lazy and I didn't want to do it. But like there was not a lot of people competing, so I just did it because there was only like 2 of us. So I did it, and that was in 8th grade. And I didn't place because it was my first year. And then this year, I pretty much only did it because like I didn't have nothing to do at home, so I just did it. Just did it to stay like after school, and I didn't want to go home.
So you started in 8th grade?
Yeah.
Wow, because I had you in class last year, and you're really quiet. So I'm surprised that you chose speech. What tell me a little bit about that. You're kind of a quiet, shy guy, and then you're standing up there, delivering speeches. How's that work for you?
It's really like not from my comfortable zone, but it's something like I would want to practice to like practice my social skills mostly with. It's like saying it up there. It's like in front of people I don't know. It's like feels comfortable, but it doesn't feel comfortable because I'm not used to it. But
that's true. That's really true. And so, how often do you guys practice? Tell us about the season. When does it start? What is the season kind of in different segments? Like you start and you kind of get planning going, and then you're into heavy practice, and then you're into competition. Or tell the audience a little bit about what the season looks like in terms of practice and competitions.
So this year, it was kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
From previous years, like previous experience, we would start in about like October, November. This year, we had to start in January. I don't know for what reason. I'm sure Miss Felix told us, but I forgot. And I felt kind of rushed, but also it was because I like wouldn't work on it that much. I was like, I had 3 months, I'm fine. And yeah, like the last 2 weeks, it was just go, go, go. We didn't even have our speeches finished in the last 2 weeks. I barely got them memorized, which is really important. But yeah, it was like really different this year, starting in January. It was the first year I started in January. Like we would start late sometimes, but January never that late. And I felt rushed.
And our category, prepared speech, is kind of like individually. There was not really like too much of a team, but either way, we try to create a team when we were in practice, and we would help each other with our voice projection, the information we did, and stuff like that. But it was mostly like independent work that we did. Like our essays, we had to do it all, and then get it checked by our coach, Mr. Agundes.
Yeah. And then once they were done, he would have us like go up to the classroom and like face everyone, and we would like say our speeches, and we would all have to listen to it. And at the end, he would ask each person like, what do you think they did? Like, how was their voice? How was their eye contact? Like, is it convincing? And I think like that kind of made us like a team, because speech is individual, like she said, but that kind of like bonded us, which I think is nice.
Yeah, we had a lot of like constructive criticism.
Yeah.
For each other. Yeah. And it was pretty funny sometimes, and sometimes it was like really serious.
Yeah, sometimes it was kind of embarrassing. It was funny, but it helped us get better, so it worked.
So to answer the question, we kind of avoided it, but we would spend the first month usually writing.
Yeah.
Like the best year we could have. We would spend the first month writing, researching, and the rest honestly is just practice, because what's really important to make eye contact is a really important thing while giving your speeches. So memorizing is the best thing you could do when doing speech. So yeah, it wasn't the case this year, as I just said, but usually spend the first month or two researching, writing, and then the rest, just keep on practicing them to make sure you know them well.
Yeah, because delivery is really like what makes you like win. Like that's the defining category. Like, of course, like the content of like your speech is really important, but everyone's gonna have like good content, right? Like very good arguments. So like the deciding factor is like how you give it, which has to be really convincing, and you have to sound confident. So.
Man, that's the truth in life. How you deliver is what's the difference. That's so cool.
One of the things Mr. Agundas would tell us was like, you don't have to believe it. No, you have to believe what you say in order to like make others believe you. So he would always say like, even though you forget something or stuff like that, you have to act like you know it. You have to be sure of what you're saying and how you're saying it to convince.
That is the absolute truth. I had somebody tell me one time about like for sales, you know, if you don't believe in your product, you know, if you're just trying to get somebody to buy something because you want to get the money for it, they're probably not going to buy it, you know. And as it worked out, we had a house for sale. We lived in Michigan, and we were moving, and we had. Well, we thought we were moving. I guess we moved for a little while, and we came back, and then we moved again. But the first time around, we had the house for sale, and it didn't sell. And it was priced well and stuff, but it just didn't sell. And the next time when we decided we were leaving, and I had a job, we were going to move out of state, I had a realtor come to me and said, "I really like your house, and I want to sell this house for you." And it made all the difference, because the first one was like, "Man, it's just another house, you know, it's just another one in my list and whatever." But the other one, you know, sold it for a lot more money than we listed the first time around. And so it's I tell people all the time that, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a product or a speech, you know, you're selling stuff, and you know, you guys sell your ideas, and if you don't believe in them, you're not totally behind them, chances are they're not either.
Well, back to the previous question, was that like our schedule was really like the last month, it was from like 3:10 all the way till 6:37, and it was pretty tiring for me. It was pretty tiring because I wasn't used to staying at school for that long anymore since 7th grade. So like having that routine again to happen, it just had me really tired all day.
That's a lot of practice.
Yeah, I would say not normal, but like in my case, I think towards the end it was always like you gotta really put in the work, like stay after school. I remember sometimes we would come Saturdays to practice, and then the previous year we also came. I believe it was during. I don't know if it was spring. No, it was.
It was one Saturday.
No, but last year, like last.
It was just.
No, last year with Mr. Gundas in 9th grade.
That was just one Saturday, no?
No, I think we came during a break. I don't know if it was Christmas break or if it was like Thanksgiving break.
Okay.
No,
All right.
No, I don't remember. No.
No, I think it was just like one day, but that has happened before, so it's pretty tiring, I would say.
But as a team, we really had to make the commitment to everyone, make sure we showed up to practices, because they started being like every day. It was every day from 3 to 6:30, and we all had to stay there, as well as Saturdays, like they said. We had to practice Saturdays. But at first, it was kind of calm. It was way calmer. Like, I feel like everyone was just like independent, doing each their speeches. But as like the day was coming closer, we had to like work more on it than ever.
Yeah, something I feel we as a team were really good at. I remember a time like where it was like one of us were missing. Even my friend Khalil, he really not hated it. He really disliked going, but you know, he still made the effort, and I really appreciate that, because like seeing everyone there, like it also encouraged me a little bit. And yeah.
So these practices, wow, 3 hours and 3.5 hours, and it's big commitment, you know, and it's paid off, hasn't it? Talk to us a little bit about the day of your competition, and you know, like, well, first, like, tell us where the competition was, who all was there, but then, you know, how did you feel? How did you prepare? You know, what happened, and all of that. So here we go.
So I would say the preparation started the day before competition, making sure I got good enough sleep, because that's always an issue with me. Every year I feel really nervous, and I really can't sleep, and it like affects me the next day in competition. But this year's competition, in particularly, I really liked it because of where it was hosted. It was hosted at Meadows, as we mentioned right now, which is the school that we came from. I was there at Meadows since 2nd to 8th grade, so it's like going back home kind of.
Yeah.
And it really calmed my nerves down. Like I didn't usually. It's at a school I've never been into. I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling nervous about seeing the judges, but I gave my speech in my 7th grade classroom, so that was really. I don't know. I didn't feel as nervous, and yeah. So the mentality I had throughout the whole competition is just don't get nervous. The second I get nervous, stuttering happens, delivery goes off, and that's the most important thing for me, just to prevent myself from getting nervous, and I can do well.
So, okay. So I think competition started like around 8 or something. So we had to get there like 7:50, I think, was the latest that Mr. Agundin had told us. And then they would also serve breakfast. So I got breakfast there. And then afterwards, 8, like they sent everyone off to like their designated classrooms for their grades because it's divided by grades. And then we were just kind of outside and we have like our speeches and note cards. And we would just like review them. But also, I didn't feel that nervous this year. And I was just like talking to like the other competitors around me, like even from other schools. Like I think that also like helped me calm down because there was also like other people that were like in the same boat as me, you could say. And then, but like once like it was closer, because there was like a list, like they're like, oh, you're going in this order to say your speeches, and we did extemporaneous first, which we've never really done before. It's always prepared and then extemporaneous, so that kind of like caught me off guard. I don't know if like caught you guys off guard as well.
Yeah, it did. We've been doing it for so long, and this is the first year that extemporaneous have been done first.
Yeah.
And what extemporaneous is, we haven't explained it, is you write. You have 10 minutes. You're given a couple of topics. You have 10 minutes to write a speech.
It's like the basics. Like.
Yeah, you're not meant to fully like paragraph. You can note down bullet notes and just deliver it. And it's based simply off personal experience, since obviously you can't do any research in those 10 minutes. So yeah, that's what extemporaneous is. It's usually one of the most challenging parts because of, on the spot, you're meant to say something completely new. You haven't practiced that at all.
Extemporaneous being first, I feel like it threw me off because we didn't really practice it in practices. We would just do prepared, and it was never really extemporaneous. So when it got to the extemporaneous, I was pretty confident at first. Like I wrote down like all what I was gonna say, but when I was up there, I was kind of like, what do I say? But yeah, extemporaneous was a little bit like difficult for me compared to the speech, because I'm more of like what I have done, what I have learned, I do best, but not the extemporaneous. It was totally different.
Yeah.
For me, it was also really different because I forgot which order it was since the last time I did it was 8th grade. And I got confused and I wrote about both of the topics. I wrote about both of the topics, but in the one I talked about, I had only put like 2 bulletin points. So right there, I just had to make everything up because I didn't know what to do. Because I really didn't listen to the instructions because I didn't get enough sleep. And in the morning, that same morning, I was all rushed. So, yeah, that's what happened in my situation.
So, for Migrant speech, I'm correct in my assumption that English is not your first language?
No, English is not my first language. Like I learned it in, I think 3rd grade, 7th grade, because I was a student in Mexicali first.
For me, Spanish was my first language, and then I just learned English when I was like in kinder and stuff.
For me, I also went to school at Mexicali until 1st grade. In 2nd grade, I came over to the U.S., and that's when I had to learn English. So it's also not my first language.
Yeah, Spanish is my first language, but I really started learning it like 1st, 2nd, mostly. I mean, English I started learning in 1st, 2nd more. Was like 6th grade when I started talking like that with my siblings, my brother and my sister, because they would leave me out if I didn't learn English. So like I was kind of forced to be able to like hang out with both of them.
That's really great. I mean, and your accomplishments with the English language are being endorsed right here. With placing and being part of this team. That's just outstanding. It's really cool.
So after the competition, after we deliver our speeches, we usually have we had a lot of downtime this year because, well, it's most of the years actually. We have very little people competing in our grade. My grade 10th, I wasn't sure about the others. So it was like an hour maybe where we ate and then we just sat down waiting until the award ceremony.
No, the basket first.
Oh yeah, we have raffles every
yeah.
year, but I'm not worried about that ever. I just want to I want to know who won. So yeah, we did that for about half an hour.
It was like half an hour. It was in the cafeteria, and well, they don't just give the gift baskets. They have little raffle tickets, but the coordinator, he also calls up people to say share your experience with the speech and debate program, or is there something you like to say to your teacher. And actually, me and Emmanuel, we got called up, and it was kind of nerve-wracking for me, I think, being in front of all those people, because we hadn't planned it. And the coordinator, he just told us say something that you would like to say to Mr. Agundes, why you're grateful for him. I think it was a nice experience.
I thought it was kind of awkward. It was the words didn't come out fluidly. It was kind of forced. The guy literally told us what to say about Mr. Agundes. It was kind of weird.
He was say that he's really nice. He is. Mr. Agundes is nice, but he was he came to us with that in mind. You have to say this, which it's not a lie. Mr. Agundes really is a good coach and everything, but it was it wasn't our words, kind of.
Yeah,
it's true, but.
And then the award ceremony, the important part. Every year, they have this tradition of bringing a guest speaker.
Yeah.
Which I learned to appreciate it. As I grew up, but it's really annoying sometimes. Not annoying. That's a really bad word. It's frustrating. I can't. It's just.
It's we're not patient.
I know. It's the lack of patience that bothers us, because they have good things to say. They always do, but we care about the rewards, and it's not talking bad. That it's not talking down on the guest speaker. I still hope they keep on bringing one every year. But it's always not a problem, but something I feel yearly.
I feel it's because we're always rushed to know who it is, who won and stuff, and we wanted to get to the words already, and we don't want to yes, we're all excited. And I feel my desvelada hit that day because I was starting to fall asleep in the ceremony. Yes.
With that, I can agree, because during the guest speaker, I guess, because I didn't get enough sleep, I actually fell asleep while they were talking, and Emmanuel over here took a picture of that, and I was not a fan of that at all. And to bring back from before saying the prepared speeches, I don't know if anyone noticed, but I went to get water after saying my first one, and they had the shades down, but I didn't notice where I was walking. I kind of bumped my head, walking to the classroom back again. I bumped my head on it, and after that, knocked me off because I started having a headache and everything.
No, but yeah, but even though it is really tiring to hear the whole speech that I think it lasts almost 30 minutes, more than 30 minutes, a whole hour.
I think it was 30 minutes. Normally it's an hour, pero esta vez no duró tanto. It wasn't that long. The guest speaker, because normally do it in Spanish and then English. They do both languages because of the parents as well. But this time she just did it in English, the guest speaker.
But even though they're really long, they're really inspirational, and they really do say a lot and give a lot. And I feel I really appreciated the speech, even though it was really long, because they say a lot. They contain a lot, and I really like them.
Also, I think we're not really patient. Also because of the fact that first place gets to go to state. That's the end goal. So everyone's I want to win first place. I want to know, am I going to go to, state? So I think that was also, please get it over with, guest speaker. I think that's like what makes us also really impatient. And then also because it's like a whole school day, like 8 to 3, like it ended like at 3, and like obviously you're gonna be tired. You already went to school on Friday like for a whole week, and then you have to go again on Saturday. Like I was really tired by that time.
Yeah, so everything just like adds more suspense to the actual awards. I felt like it was less this year though, because usually they would, say the district, they would have a long pause, and then they would scream out the name. And some of the kids who were in the same district, they were, like they were like trying to see, oh, who is it? But this year it was, I think they.
It was also like very like unorganized.
Oh yeah, there was some problems. I don't know how. It's never happened.
Yeah, it was like.
There was a couple of problems where there's mistakes of kids who got called out, and
they weren't the winners, and it was like,
yeah, it was kind of sad.
Yeah, it was.
That added more time because they didn't know the names of the kids who won and stuff.
Yeah.
So we had to wait until they get them, and it was more time until we knew the awards.
And also, what also adds to the suspense a lot is, as you get older, as you keep on competing, they always start with the fourth graders, which is the smallest grade you could compete at. So it's just, you wait for every grade until it finally gets to you. And by that time, you're like at the edge of your seat, you're waiting to see who won.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes, like, for me, the competition day the most exciting. Giving my speeches, then waiting for the guest speaker to finish speaking, and then finally seeing if I had gotten anything.
Well, that sounds really good. I think we need to hear your speeches. I think that's the next step here. So what we'll do is have you, introduce yourself and then give your speech, okay? All right.
Hi, my name is Itzel Juarez, and the topic I will be presenting will be about benefits of school sports. Former NFL player Joe Ehrman said, "The goal of high school athletic school programs is to win, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is human growth and development of students and connecting them to caring adults in their learning community." Mr. Ehrman is correct, and facts will showcase the significance of school sports and how they can shape the lives of young athletes in long-lasting, definitive ways. It is clear that the benefits of school sports outweigh the potential physical and mental health impacts on student athletes because students' lives are enhanced through sports academically, physically, and mentally. To begin, athletes have better academic outcomes than non-athletes and acquire crucial skills compared to non-athletes. The National Library of Medicine examined the passing rates of 7th through 12th grade individual athletes and non-athletes on standardized tests for math, language arts, reading, writing, science, and social studies. Statistical analysis comparing athletes to non-athletes showed that athletes scored significantly better, with passing rate ranges ranging from 77% to 92%, compared to 28% to 67%. To what could this vast difference in passing rates be attributed? Because it is a vast difference. I think it is because athletes have to learn to manage everything in their lives really effectively in order to excel at their sport, succeed academically, and still have time with family and friends. The difference in these test scores clearly show the ability of athletes gaining much better skills to manage both school and sports and still be better at it than non-athletes. This role of student athletes is taken by students who are required to have great time management, organization, and prioritization skills. They gain these skills when they combine coursework, tests, sport events, training, tournaments, and their social life, something non-athletes would never understand. Being a student athlete is challenging, but it recompenses the students in their future after their hard work. Participating in sports can provide opportunities for college scholarships, recruitment, and networking, ensuring a much better future. Additionally, school sports benefit physical health in athletes. According to the National Library of Medicine, sports get kids up and moving and benefit their cardiovascular health, burns calories, raises metabolism, and improves strength and mobility. It is especially important that school sports establish habits where young people are moving and enjoying exercise, given the world we live in today, with 40% of U.S. residents suffering from obesity and more than 38.4 million Americans diagnosed with diabetes, as stated by the National Institute of Health. And unfortunately, it is likely that many of these people are not physically active. Physical activity or exercise is crucially important and can improve our health and reduce the risk of developing several diseases like the ones mentioned and many more. Physical activity and exercise creates a strong foundation for fitness habits, and by playing school sports, students' lifelong overall health is enhanced along with their quality of life. Furthermore, participating in a team helps children develop good mental health. The National Library of Medicine stated that promoting and encouraging sports activities in a community is an effective intervention for preventing depression among participants. And it also estimated that 21 million adults in the United States have had at least one major depressive episode. Depression is a major contributor to mortality, morbidity, disability, and economic costs in the United States. Playing sports is a healthy way of reducing this stress. By making social connections, eating healthy, and exercising, our body releases feel-good hormones called endorphins, improving our sense of well-being, which can all be done by playing school sports. Conversely, others may say that there are feelings of burnout applied to these athletes. Even though this may be the case for several athletes and is concerning, the potential for burnouts will be greatly diminished by building a support network and learning how to manage our time. As an athlete myself, I can tell you that the strong connections with supporting friends and coaches I made during all my sports helped me be encouraged to keep going and working harder, even when I was feeling down and feeling discouraged. I was personally never stressed of the combination of sports with academics because my first coach taught me how to build my schedule and adapt to it. I had struggled at first, but I built a good habit out of it. Now, I continue playing several sports and maintain a 4.0 GPA. Others fail to see that the negative outcomes are able to be resolved with the help of proper guidance and caring people. In school sports, coaches must focus on the positive reinforcement of teamwork rather than just winning, emphasizing personal growth and development. Furthermore, athletes who truly love their sport will not likely experience this feeling because they see it as a way of escaping from unusual routine, being involved and active. In conclusion, athletic benefit athletes are meant to prepare for life. Students reach triumph from the passions, connections to caring people, and striving for their own personal goals. By considering all of these benefits, we can gain a more nuanced understanding of the role school sports in students' lives and see why no potential bad outcome can completely outweigh all of the extremely good benefits. Thank you.
A little Horta, and my topic is about how video games do contribute to behavior challenges in children and teens. I have a cousin with whom I enjoyed playing video games remotely until his behavior really started changing. We would play at least 4 times a week, and it was relaxing. Then something changed. To be honest, I reduced our gaming sessions to once or twice a week because he started getting aggressive when we'd play, using a lot of profanity. He used to be so calm and relaxed when playing, but his behavior changed when he started playing games that were beyond his age category, like Call of Duty. My cousin Junior cannot be the only person who has been affected by video games in this way. Video games do contribute to the behavior challenges in children and teens because they affect academic performance, foster aggressive behavior in real life, and can cause a technology addiction disorder. Starting off, video games affect academic performance. According to the University of Tennessee, gaming addiction physically impacts academic achievement because the student is too involved in the game to do homework or prepare academically. This is true because many children and teens are glued to video games and it makes them forget about their academics. I have experienced this myself by not doing my work and not studying for assessments because I was too occupied with gaming. Also, according to the University of Tennessee, gaming has an impact on academics directly, which is often linked to problems in school and decreased academic performance. This demonstrates how playing video games can directly affect someone's performance in school by taking up time that could be used for studying. Additionally, video games foster aggressive behavior in real life. According to Iowa State University, multiple studies have shown that games rated M, mature, have been factors in school shootings and an increase in bullying and violence toward women. This implies children and teens can change the way they act in person with others. Furthermore, according to Iowa State University, thinking that it's susceptible to respond aggressively to provocation and practicing becoming emotionless to the consequences of violence are other consequences of gaming. This explains that this altered mindset as a result of video games can lead to a lack of empathy and increased likelihood of engaging in violent behavior without considering its negative impacts. Furthermore, video games can lead to technology addiction disorders. According to Pine Grove Behavior Health, people get addicted to video games because they provide scattered rewards that stimulate a release of dopamine in their brains, a chemical that makes people feel good. This can lead to compulsive behavior and an inability to control gameplay. This suggests that people can become hooked on playing video games because these activities give them neurochemicals rewards at random times. Video games clearly then literally affect our brains. This means that with pleasurable feelings, it can make people want to keep playing more and more, leading to compulsive behavior where they feel like they can't stop or control how much they play. On the other hand, an opponent may disagree with me and say that video games help children and teens' intelligence. Though this can perhaps be true, do we want children and teens to deal with the consequences of playing video games and let them be affected by the negative results that come with video games? Video games start to affect children and teens by leading them to anxiety, depression, and social isolation. According to a study by the National Library of Medicine in 2019, video games can also lead to a lack of physical activity and disrupt sleep patterns. Clearly, video games can be very harmful to young players. Ultimately, video games can contribute to behavior challenges in children and teens by negatively impacting their academic performance, encouraging aggressive behavior in real life, and leading to technology addiction. I miss playing video games with my cousin. I miss the fun we used to have, how we would talk about sports like soccer. Since we live far from each other, it was a great opportunity to stay in touch, but he really did change. Today, he is a little more mature, and we text sometimes, but those great gaming sessions are gone, and I really do think that the effects of video games caused it. It's a shame that video games have the ability to change children and teens mentally, to change their actual personalities. Like I said, my cousin cannot be the only one that this happened to. It is up to us to decide what is good for us and what can hurt us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emmanuel Wong, and my topic is on why the traditional grading system should be eliminated. To what extent do traditional letter grades accurately show a student's true understanding of a subject matter? The truth is, almost none at all. The current grading system is ineffective at the only thing it is meant to do, to truly measure knowledge. Therefore, the traditional grading system should be eliminated because it is inconsistent, it can be unfair, and it can be inaccurate when measuring a student's true knowledge about a subject. First, schools should incorporate a new grading system as the one used currently across many places is greatly inconsistent. Each teacher has their own way of grading and expects different requirements from their students to succeed. The problem with this, as explained by Harvard University's Joseph Feldman, is that students are seeing various teachers a day, each with their own beliefs on grading. The students have to navigate a different system for every class, adding to their cognitive load. School can already be stressful as it is, but then adding the switch of grading systems 6 to 7 times a week, a day, every day, cannot necessarily add to the stress of students. This is seen throughout my own school, as central math teachers may weigh their tests very heavily, often counting up for 80% of the overall grade, while English teachers may focus on essays and science teachers on labs or other activities. The point is, it is not reasonable to expect any teenager to keep up with such inconsistency. Height differences in grading rubrics, even between just 2 classes, could result in many students possibly struggling to keep up, in addition to their many other classes. Furthermore, the system is not fair when it uses homework as part of the grade calculations. When things like homework or at-home projects are included in the students' grades, those with more resources will do better. Mr. Feldman also states, homework is often a filter for privilege, that students who have resources at home, whether they may be internet access or caregivers who have a college education or who have time to help them, and many other factors. Those students are more likely to complete homework compared to the students who don't have those resources. These resources are especially important for an early education. A small child who could have a problem would have no way to resolve it by themselves without any parental assistance. Why should the resources available to children determine their academic success? When children have a supportive and educated parent at home in a good living environment, that person could act as a safety net, helping them to not only completing said homework, but also doing it correctly, while those who don't will struggle. For these reasons, using homework as a part of a grade is inherently unfair, and all my teachers include homework in their grades. Lastly, the current grading system can be inaccurate in terms of truly demonstrating a student's understanding of the topic. This is discussed in an article from the American Journal of Pharmaceutical Education, which states that when points are awarded for subjective activities, for example, participation or homework completion, final grades will vary from when we only consider objective measures of standard achievement. So, When homework or participation is included, students are driven more to focus on receiving points rather than genuinely grasping concepts. These students would still receive good grades, but would not understand the subjects, which defeats the whole purpose of an education. Inaccurate scores could very negatively impact the futures of students. These grades, which didn't actually determine if a student was proficient in the subject or not, could ultimately put unprepared people into the workforce, which could impact not only them, but everyone around them who relies on their work. Now, many question the necessity of changing a system that has been used for over a century. But the truth about this is that is exactly the problem. The current grading system was adopted in 1897. This was a time period in which the average high school student of today would have been considered a genius even by those who had a complete education. This was a time period in which surgeons didn't believe in germs, one in which dinosaurs were a relatively new discovery, one in which there were no airplanes, and one in which people still feared electricity. Education was miles behind of what it has become, and we are letting those who came from such an underdeveloped education determine how we grade ours currently. To conclude, the traditional grading system should be replaced because of its inconsistency, unfairness, and inaccurate measurements of knowledge. The future of education should not be confined to outdated numbers that fail to show true understanding. It is time to break free from this system and build one that values a real learning. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alexia Cervantes. I'm a sophomore, and my speech is about the negative effects of fast fashion. Fast fashion is a design, manufacturing, and marketing method focused on quickly producing high volumes of clothing. It is often subject to criticism due to its negative effects, and it absolutely should be criticized. As stated in the Harvard Law School Journal, in the eyes of fast fashion corporations, the consumer is king, and the environment and workers are secondary. It is clear that fast fashion is undeniably unsustainable consumerism and harms society due to its inhumane labor conditions and the environmental impact it has on climate change and ocean pollution. To begin, fast fashion is unsustainable and harms society because it involves cruel and immoral labor conditions. In order to meet market demands, workers are often given a high quota of clothing that needs to be reached by the end of the day. The Harvard Systemic Justice Journal reported that failure to make quota often means foregoing pay, which is typically less than $3 a day, and many workers may also be subject to physical, verbal, and sexual violence as punishments. Not to mention that UNICEF estimates that more than 100 million children are affected in the garment and footwear supply chain globally. 100 million children, deprived of their natural rights, the right to an education, to a childhood. No person, especially not a child, should have to put up with these conditions where they are deprived of their basic human rights. Additionally, fast fashion harms society because of its environmental impact on climate change. An article by Renee Cho from Columbia University's Climate School stated that the fast fashion industry produces 1.2 million metric tons of carbon dioxide each year, resulting in more greenhouse gas emissions than the carbon produced by France, Germany, and the UK altogether. Carbon dioxide emissions lead to rising global temperatures. Climate change brings about extreme weather events like droughts, rising sea levels, and it disrupts the ecosystem. And fast fashion causes exactly this problem. By buying from these fast fashion corporations, we are essentially dooming our own planet. And are clothes really worth that? Only consumers can decide that, with their spending choices. Furthermore, fast fashion is unsustainable consumerism because of its environmental impact on ocean pollution. An article published by Princeton University's Nan Lee stated that approximately 35% of all microplastics in the ocean are from synthetic materials precisely like the polyester used ubiquitously in fast fashion. When the plastic finally breaks down, this creates a toxic substance that harms marine life. But microplastics don't only harm marine life. They also harm people. They are so small that one cannot detect them, so eventually they end up in people's bodies. And why are we being exposed to this harm? Because fast fashion corporations believe profit is more important than people's health. But what about those who may say that fast fashion is a necessary convenience? Because there are many people who turn to fast fashion as their source of clothing out of necessity. Fast fashion does offer more affordable prices. For example, a replica of a $50 t-shirt sold at stores like Nordstrom
can easily be found at just a $5 price in a fast fashion store like Shein. In this case, doesn't the latter sound like a sweet deal? Absolutely. But one has to stop and think of what this action, that may seem completely harmless, could cause. That $5 t-shirt not only caused greenhouse gas emissions, but was also made in inhumane working conditions for workers. A much better approach would be to consider buying clothes from thrift stores, like Goodwill, where the prices there are also quite low. Or there's also the option of using hand-me-down clothing. This way, there's no need for the unnecessary manufacturing of clothes that can lead to so many environmental problems. When one really weighs these options, thrifting or hand-me-downs offer both affordability and sustainability all in one, something that fast fashion fails to do. To conclude, fast fashion is unsustainable and harms society because of the harsh labor conditions to which workers are subjected, its negative effect on climate change, and its impact on ocean pollution. Fast fashion has brought about suffering, such as in the case of Nazma Akhtar, a former child garment worker turned labor advocate, who said retailers capitalize on our cheap labor. They exploit our youth and disrespect the dignity of workers, especially women and girls. It was countries that used to colonize us. Now, it's corporations. Thank you.
Okay, so for the prepared category, for 9th grade, Itzel got 3rd place. And then for 10th grade, Emmanuel got 3rd place, and then I got 1st place. And then extemporaneous, I got 3rd place, and Emmanuel got 2nd place. And yeah, those were the results.
Wow, that's fantastic. You know, I think we're going to have you come back after state competition to talk about that competition, and we'll bring your coach and the coordinator in for that session. That'd be fantastic. So, guys, I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate that you've put in all the effort to, compete this season. Those are great speeches. So, anyway, I think that's it for us today. And
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This program was produced and brought to you by Spartan Sound Productions. Special thanks to our guests, Gael, Itzel, Alexa, and Emil of the CUHS Migrant Speech Team. Thanks also to Dr. Thomas Taki, creator and executive producer of the Spartan Sound Productions, the administration of Central Union High School, Mr. Javier Fimbers, and Power 98 for hosting us, and to you, the listeners.